going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue Corner Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Coach Chris, aka the Green Knives Coach. Listen, guys, earlier today, I got into a debate with certain Roy Jones Jr. fans on Instagram. Some of them disrespectful, some of them respectful. And I want to keep this debate respectful. And I was debating the greatness out of both fighters, right? There was a video where Roy Jones Jr. was named a few legendary fighters, and they asked him to stop when he thinks those fighters are greater than him. Well, let's just say the only name that he chose that was greater than him was Muhammad Ali. Now, both Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. are all-time greats. There's no doubt about it. But when we talk greatness, of course, Muhammad Ali is the GOAT. He's the first one that pops in, right? He's the one who set the bar. But when we talk about Mike Tyson's name, that's the name that always comes up second, not Roy Jones Jr. Listen, don't get me wrong. I love Roy Jones Jr. I was crushed when Roy Jones Jr. got knocked out by Antonio Tarver the same way Mike Tyson was when he got knocked out by Buster Douglas, right? But when we speak about Mike Tyson brought ferocity and, he mastered the peekaboo style. He beat Olympic champs, guys like Tyrell Biggs, James Tillis, and rugged, tough fights with Razor Ruddock. Roy Jones Jr., he dazzled us, right, with his speed, his power. But was he really more skillful than Mike Tyson? This is where things change for me, okay? Because everyone has their own set of different skills, right? Roy Jones mastered his style, Mike Tyson his, Muhammad Ali his, Floyd Mayweather his. So, comparing these legends and their skill set and saying one is better than the other, that's hard to do, guys. That's hard to do because each and every one of them also have flaws that could be taken advantage of any one of them, because they're all high fighters with high IQs. So who's greater, Mike Tyson or Roy Jones Jr.? Listen, I'm going to go with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson brought a different kind of aura to this game, to the boxing game. Mike Tyson was iconic. Mike Tyson was known worldwide. Didn't matter what country, what continent you were in. They knew who Mike Tyson was. Roy Jones Jr. had fame. He was famous. He was very popular, but more so within the United States. Don't get me wrong, his name was out there too, outside of these countries also, but not like Mike Tyson. And you could tell by their careers today too, the respect. Mike Tyson, as you can see today, even in his podcast, everything that he's doing is just big. It's always been huge. Roy Jones Jr. is a little bit more reserved, you know what I mean? He's quieter right now. He's announcing, but still, that aura, you can see the difference. Mike Tyson is still that dynamite kid. Roy Jones Jr., okay, so someone made the argument that he was more skillful than Mike Tyson. I'm like, how? When you look at when you look at Roy Jones Jr. when he fought, what's his name? Antonio Tarver. Is Antonio Tarver better than Mike Tyson? And let me tell you, Antonio Tarver is a beast. He has his own accomplishments. He accomplished a lot too, Antonio Tarver, and that's why he beat Roy Jones Jr. He has 3 wins over Roy Jones Jr. That first fight, he beat Roy Jones Jr., and I love Roy Jones Jr. I'm a big Roy Jones Jr. fan. But let's be honest, it was skills that beat Roy Jones Jr. Now, you may make the argument that the first fight, he came down from heavyweight and he was weak. Okay, no doubt. But what about the second fight? What about the third fight? What happened to Roy Jones Jr. when he fought Bernard Hopkins for the second time? He got dominated. Bernard Hopkins, same age, same years in boxing. What happened with Roy Jones when he fought Joe Kozlowski? Right? I was actually there. I worked that event. Okay? We had a fighter in there. So, now the same could be said about Mike Tyson. He lost to Buster Douglas, but we know why. But even in losing to Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson displayed skills, head movement, footwork. He tagged Buster Douglas. And let me tell you something, guys, about Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas did not have the name of Mike Tyson at the time, but Buster Douglas was known to be a very skillful fighter also, just lazy, undisciplined. That was his reputation, unfortunately. So when he fought Tyson, he was disciplined. Plus, he had that motivation, that his mother had passed away too. May she rest in peace, right? But yet, Tyson still didn't look bad in that fight. He didn't get slaughtered, boys. It was a nice little, it was a nice big fight with skills in it. Both of them, Buster and Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson lost to Holyfield 5 years after he came out of prison. He wasn't the Mike Tyson that we knew before going to prison. I would have loved to have seen that fight when it was supposed to happen, because don't get me wrong, Evander Holyfield's a beast, an animal in his own rights also. So who knows who would have won that fight when they fought when they were younger. Experts will still say Mike Tyson because of that power that he carried in his youth. Evander Holyfield even spoke about that. I think they sparred when they were younger. Or was it Lennox Lewis? Could be wrong. But either way, they all knew each other as growing up. You know what I mean? So this is not to diminish anything that Roy Jones Jr. has done in his career. The man was awesome. He was remarkable. He was also a phenom in his own right. But it was through his speed. When he started losing that speed, his skills were actually in display now, right? And his flaws were being exposed because he didn't have that speed to get away from the punches anymore. So he did lack that defense, while Tyson at least still had that peekaboo style where he kept his hands up, moved his head at times. So he wasn't as an easy target like Roy Jones Jr. was. That's why Roy Jones would get knocked out the way he would, because of his lack of defense. Carrying his hands low, not moving his head, just standing right there thinking he can move out of the way with his feet. And boom. Once he get caught, it's clean shots. It wasn't so much that he had a weak chin. It was so much that that chin was exposed also. And he would get dropped the way he get dropped. We ain't never seen Mike Tyson really get knocked like that out until late in his career. And again, it was accumulative of punches. You could see it was just Tyson out of breath already, not really in shape. And I'm talking about those last fights that to me don't even count. And forget the Jake Paul fight. Just throw that out the window. That shouldn't even be on record. All right, guys? So I just want to make that clear to all you young fans that don't really know who Mike Tyson is or was and what type of skills he had. This guy, let me tell you, don't say that he fought nobodies in his career. Guys, he fought guys like James Tillis, Tyrell Biggs, who already named. But he had other names of that list also. Jose Ribalta. He knocked out Jose Ribalta, but if you knew who Jose Ribalta was in those days, boss, that was a tough guy. You know what I mean? He was meant to take Mike Tyson a few rounds, and he didn't do it. Okay? James Tillis, another former Olympic champion, 1984, right? He was fast like Roy Jones Jr. So was Tyrell Biggs. They had speed. They had fast hands. Different style of Roy Jones Jr. Yet Tyson was able to catch him when they were in their primes. So we cannot say that Mike Tyson fought nobodies coming up, because if we do that, we could do that with Roy Jones Jr.'s record. We could do that with Floyd Mayweather's record. We could do that with Terence Crawford's record. I was actually discussing that with another friend of mine. I'm actually debating him because he was a Canelo fan. And he was like, well, Terence Crawford ain't got nobody in his record. I was like, we can't do that. Because Terence Crawford beat some really, really good fighters. He just made them look class B. I'll give you an example. The Dominican guy from the Olympics. That guy wasn't supposed to, I'm not going to say he was supposed to win that fight. A lot of people expect, not just Dominicans, because of his Olympic pedigree, a lot of people thought that he was going to give Terence Crawford a good fight. But that's the thing. Terence Crawford dominated an Olympic boxer. Dominated. And he dominated all these other tough fighters like Ray Beltran, Victor Puru, the Russian guy. All these guys that people be saying, they ain't nothing. but they wasn't getting dominated by no other fighters like they did when they fought Terence Crawford. So it's the way Terence Crawford was dominating those fighters, the way he won those fights. And that's why when I made my prediction that he was going to beat Canelo, it was for those reasons, because of Terence Crawford's IQ. Mike Tyson had that IQ. Floyd Mayweather had that IQ. Roy Jones Jr. has an IQ. However, like I said, this is where I differentiate with Roy. As much as I love Roy, when it comes to skills, he has skills. Don't get me wrong. He has skills. I used to love when he used to drop that left hook, steady right hand. He would counter you. Yes, badass, boys. Don't get me wrong. But when we talk science of boxing, like Wilfred Benitez, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Robinson, I don't think we put Roy Jones Jr. on that list. He is on the list, top 10 greats. But when we talk skills, Floyd Mayweather, that was skills, right? Again, not minimizing what Roy Jones Jr. did. He was skillful. But it was more of his speed that really got Roy Jones over, right? That's when you used to dazzle. Like, damn. You know, like, I didn't even see those 4-punch combination. And then he would destroy dudes with those combination and his speed. So no doubt about it, that's what made him great. And that's what would give any of these fighters, let's just say these fighters were to meet at the same, they could meet at the same weight division, Mike Tyson versus Roy, Roy versus Floyd Mayweather, they will all have problems with Roy because of that speed. But you think none of those guys could actually catch Roy Jones Jr.? Of course they can. Don't be ridiculous. See you on the next podcast, guys. And don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the content out. Subscribe. And I'll see you on the next podcast. Throw your comments on this one. Tell me what you think. Are you a Roy Jones Jr. fan or a Mike Tyson fan? Let me know. I'll let you know. Peace.